What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about 8 tips and things that all young quarterbacks need to do. Now, every great quarterback, fellas, starts with having a good base. So the first thing I want to get across to you guys is the perfect base to play at the quarterback position. Now, a lot of coaches teach like, oh, maybe you want to be like 50-50 in your base. Okay, cool. Like, I'm not necessarily mad at that, but me personally, all the top guys that I feel have the best arm strength, don't have as much arm pain, can throw the ball further, or more so in a 65-35 or 70-30 base. The position that you want to try to get to is you are shifting back at your hip, and you want to think your head, your knee, and your foot are stacked on top of each other in one big skyscraper, because when your weight's back, that allows you to do a lot of things mechanically that we're going to get into this video. But you want to be nice and light with your front foot. You don't want to be heavy with your front foot. Nice and light. Heel should be barely off the ground, so you can effectively transfer your weight, but be in a mechanically sound position that we'll discuss next. Now, fellas, before we get into the rest of this video, if you are a quarterback or even a wide receiver watching this and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we are traveling out to 15 different cities across the entire country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, go to that very first link in the description below if you would like to sign up. At our camps, what we do is we limit spots so we don't have a million people out there. We could get probably 300-400 kids to show up to our camps, but we don't do it simply because we want to actually work with you one-on-one, take the time to develop you, coach you up, give you drills to improve in certain areas, and you can't do that when there's a million people there. So guys, make sure you take advantage of the fact that we have open spots. All of our camps will sell out probably within the next 2 to 3 months. So guys, our next camp is going to be in San Francisco, California. Then we'll be heading out to Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Columbia, South Carolina. Then after that, we will be coming out to Seattle, Washington, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Then we'll be coming out to Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, want some info, want to sign up, again, very first link in that description below. We'd love to have you there. Now, fellas, the second thing that I want to get across to you is what you need to do after you're in your throwing base when it comes down to your foot strike and your weight distribution. So let's say I'm in that 70-30 base. The reason why we want to get there is because when you have 70% of your weight on your back leg, it allows you, or you're more likely to keep your weight back there when you stride to the target. So you got to think about an efficient throwing motion a lot like a baseball swing, right? And the goal of mechanics, because like a lot of you might see this and be like, well, coach, I don't do these things, but the ball still gets there. I'm willing to bet you probably have pretty bad elbow pain, probably get some shoulder pain sometimes, because flawed mechanics puts a lot of pressure on your arm. That's why mechanics are important. If your arm can stay healthy, you're going to be able to throw for longer periods of time and be able to have sustainable arm strength, accuracy, and velocity on your throws. That's why mechanics are important. So it's a lot like a baseball swing, you guys. I'm in the batter's box, pitcher throws a pitch, I step to the pitcher, weight stays back here, bait stays back, bat stays back here, then the hips bring the bat through. That's what we want to do on our stride as a quarterback. My weight stays back. I'm in that stack position. I stride to the target. I don't lunge forward, because when I lunge forward in a baseball swing, is it going to go anywhere? No, you don't have any torque. Torque comes from separating your upper body from your lower body, and you can't separate your upper body with weight all the way onto your front foot. So your weight's got to stay back. When you stride, it's about a 6-inch step, weight stays back, shoulders delay. So when we get to this point, then obviously your hips and your weight transfer factors into the throw, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So now, fellas, now that we discussed the base, now we discussed the weight transfer, now we discussed, or I should say, the weight distribution in the stride, now let's talk about your hips. So a lot of quarterbacks, when they throw, they'll stride, weight stays back, but what ends up happening is that when they go to throw, their back foot does something like this, where they almost drag it, and it turns into more of an arm throw. Or what they do is they'll pivot their back foot, and they're almost leaning back. Guys, the goal that you want to try to shoot for, a lot of quarterback coaches teach drive this back hip, but I feel like sometimes you want to think more about opening your front hip, because that will drive your back hip. So your weight stays back, you stride, shoulders delay, take the football back. Think somebody's got their hand on your shorts and they're pulling you through. And when you follow through on the throw, the goal is to now be stacked with your front leg. Head, knee, and foot stacked in a skyscraper. Start in the skyscraper, stay back, hips through, finish in the skyscraper. And that type of hip rotation is what's going to help you get more power on the ball, distance on the ball, and take pressure off that arm. Now, fellas, let's assume that you did all of those things things mechanically correct. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll be accurate on the throw. You have to focus on two things, and that's your front hand and your front side, if you will, or really your shoulders and your hips, okay? So let's say I stay back, I stride to the target, and now when my hips rotate through, what we don't want to do is over-rotate, and we don't want to have my front elbow and hand drop down to my hip, because that's going to affect where your release point is. Every single quarterback, look at all 32 NFL starters, all throw the ball differently, all have a different release point, but they're all very accurate, right? They wouldn't be able to play in the NFL if they weren't accurate, you guys. So they stride, weight stays back, shoulders go back. When your hips bring you through, you want to think your front hand is eating a sandwich, just like this. You wouldn't eat a sandwich down here. Eat a sandwich up here, because that will prevent your release from being too high. Look at old film of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a perfect example of this. Older film of him, he would bring this elbow down here and he'd have this crazy high release. Later in his career, he was like opposite collarbone, and guess what his release stopped doing? Being so high, it was a little bit lower, still pretty decently high. Wasn't like his elbow was low, but he's a little bit more consistent with his release. Now, the other thing you got to think about is your hips and your shoulders staying parallel to where you want the ball to go. So if I'm throwing to you right now, I don't want to be this dude and be here, because when this shoulder and this hip are both opening at the same time, that's when your arm can widen outside your frame and you're almost coming across, which can cause you to miss left or right. So if you could keep that hand eating a sandwich, you gotta have your hips fire through on this though, you guys, because if you're not rotating proper, it's gonna feel like you have no power. So your hips gotta make sure they fire. Stand nice and square the best we can, hand up by your face like you're eating a sandwich to be a more accurate young quarterback. Now, tip number 5 for younger quarterbacks, you guys, is you need to have a pre-snap process when you walk up to the line of scrimmage when you're trying to determine where you throw the ball. So what is a pre-snap process? Like, let's say, for example, I'll use a play concept. Like, let's say we have a slant and then like a bubble on the left side of the field, and let's say on the right side of the field we have smash. So a hitch from the outside and a corner from the slot. So left side of the field is quick game, one step and throw. Right side of the field is probably like quick game, it's not there, reset to the corner and throw, right? So that's our footwork. But if it's like cover 4, maybe I don't want to work the smash side, right? So cover 4 and cover 2 is what these play concepts would be. Both are two high safety concepts. If it's cover 4, I probably want to work the slant bubble, because the bubble is going to pull the backer, then that slant is going to be wide open in the window, middle backer won't have time to make that play. Say it's cover 2, corners sit in the flats, safeties play the deep half. Obviously I don't like the bubble slant, because the bubble, corner's going to take that, slant's going to run right into a backer. So I'm going to work the smash. Hitch takes the corner route from the slot, we just got to make sure we put it on a line so that safety doesn't make a play. So where you determine where to go with the ball is based on your pre-snap process, determining what the coverage is. So you come up to the line, looking at the safeties. How many? How deep? How wide? What does their stance look like, right? Look at the corners. Corners always lie to us. They love to show press and then bail. So we can't rely on them a ton, but they may give it away. If it's two high safeties, they're a little tight or a little closer, a little tight inside the hash. Corners are off about 7. It looks like cover 4, right? Corners are pressed. Safeties are really wide. Back pedal stance about 12 yards deep. Okay, looks like cover 2, right? Then you look to the box. Is it a 4-3? Is it a 3-4? Are they bringing pressure, etc.? So all those things help you determine what the coverage is, to determine where you go with the ball, so you have a better decision-making process. And not a lot of quarterbacks do that. They will break the huddle, get the play in, snap the ball, then just focus on one guy. That's not how you read defenses, and that is not how you become a more efficient player. Now, tip number 6, guys, as a quarterback, is you need to learn how to flush the mistakes. It's a lot like, I equate it to like golfing, right? So like if you've ever golfed before, if you haven't, it's okay. You could probably understand the analogy. Let's say you tee up a shot and you freaking slice that thing into the trees. I know I've done that a million times when I attempt to play golf. And so it's like, I'm not going to dwell on that shot. Bad shot, okay, cool, I'm on to the next shot. How could I get out of the situation that I'm in? I'm not sitting there thinking, okay, I sliced it, I'm pissed off, I come up to the next shot, I'm not even thinking about it, I'm still thinking about the last shot, because more than likely, I'm going to hit another bad shot. Same thing as a quarterback. You throw a pick 6, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. Tom Brady threw a lot of pick 6s. He threw a lot of interceptions. You're going to throw a bad pass. You're going to throw a pick 6. You're going to throw a pick to lose the game. That's part of the position. But what you do and how you respond to that like adversity or that like failure is really what's going to make you as a player. So as a quarterback, you throw a pick 6, go to the sideline, don't dwell, figure out what went wrong. What mistake did I make? Okay, I'm not gonna make that again. I'm on to the next play. And if you could have that attitude, that's gonna help you out so much long-term as a player because you'll be just focused on the present moment and the present play. A lot of QBs get very anxious because they're worried about the future. What happens next? You know, like, what if I do bad on this, then what does that mean? And then a lot of guys dwell on the past. They're so pissed off that they made a mistake. The only thing you can control is what you do in the exact situation that you're in and what your job is on a specific play. So just focus on that, you guys. Flush the mistakes and flush the success. You throw a 50-yard TD pass, you can't get too high on yourself because what happens when a mistake happens? You're gonna be here. You can't let the result of the play dictate how you feel about yourself as a player. Focus on what you need to do on each individual rep as a player and you'll be a more successful quarterback. So fellas, tip number 7 to be just a better overall quarterback is being a great leader, right? So like, I think I don't really talk too much about being a leader on this channel, so I want to talk a little bit more about that and what it goes into that at the quarterback position. So as a quarterback, number 1, you have to lead by example. Like if you're not the hardest worker on the field as the quarterback, you're kind of doing something wrong because quarterback, whether you like it or not, everybody's looking at you. So how you carry yourself, do you show up on time? Do you do all the reps in the weight room? Do you do all the reps during conditioning on the field? Are you going hard during conditioning? Are you showing coaches respect? All of those things will wear off on your teammates because all of your teammates are looking at you. That's just the fact of the situation, right? So that's number 1. Number 2, to get your teammates to kind of follow you, it obviously can't just be all action. I'm not saying you got to be a super extroverted guy. If you're more quiet, more reserved, that's totally fine. But what helps players kind of buy in to what you're doing, look at you as more of a leader, is you got to get to know them on a personal level. Like I just think like that's one of the things that I miss the most about playing football. It's not even so much the game. It's not even so much like the touchdowns because I'm around football, right? I miss the relationships that I had with my teammates, getting to know them, you know, giving them a ride home and just talking about crazy stuff on the sideline, being able to talk about stuff that's not football related. You can't just be football all the time, and you can't be a guy that just removes yourself from the team and is not just one of the guys, because I'm telling you right now, you get to know them on a personal level. You understand what maybe drives them, what motivates them. Like let's say you got a receiver who maybe like, you know, they don't come from much money and the only reason he's playing football is to be able to get a scholarship so he can go to college because his parents can't afford it. Like that's a way that you can motivate that guy. You get to know him on a personal level. He knows that you care about him, and when you're in a situation where he maybe isn't pulling his weight, not doing the work, you'd be like, hey man, like listen, if you want to play at the next level, you got to start doing this. And that's a way to motivate that guy. That's a way to get that guy to follow you, and that's what great leaders do. They get to know the people that are around them on an individual level. Like me, like I would consider myself in a leadership position, being like a trainer and working with athletes, being a coach. And I don't like just think of them as like a commodity. I don't just think of them as like, oh, that's a guy that I train. No, I get to know them on a personal level. I understand like, how'd the week go? How's your season going? Like, what are your goals for this season? Because one, that lets them know that I actually care, because a lot of trainers don't. And also it's a way for me to motivate them and get them to do what I'm trying to get them to do. Because if you can appeal to people's like motivations, you know, like personal stuff that you got to know about them away from football, that's an easy way to get them to kind of follow you and follow your lead, which is going to make the team better and is going to make you an overall better player. Now, fellas, if you're watching this, I'm assuming that you probably want to play football in college, right? And so at the quarterback position, something that people focus a lot on is like, okay, I need to be really accurate. I got to have a good 3-step drop. I got to have good arm strength. But one thing that not enough people don't work on is the extend play ability. And that's what they're looking for at the collegiate level. Are you a quarterback? Because guys, I've trained thousands of quarterbacks. Like over the course of a lot of years, we've trained thousands and thousands of players. There are thousands of kids that can take a 3-step drop and throw a 10-yard post. So if that's all your film is, that's all you bring to the table is just throwing wide open routes, first read, not really extending the play, getting out and throwing on the run, stepping up in the pocket, throwing while you're getting hit, it really doesn't make you stand out from the crowd. So if you want to be able to play at the next level, you have to be able to showcase those plays where you could get out of the pocket and extend the play. That's very, very appealing to college coaches, but also for you youth guys, that's very appealing as well to high school coaches.